That was a great game by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense for 3.5 quarters. And everything that happened in overtime, in the final half of the fourth quarter, it just all sucked. It was absolutely horrible. I have never felt this bad after winning a game, and for multiple reasons. Let's start with the obvious. TJ Watt has a pectoral injury, a confirmed pectoral injury, and the fear is that he's torn his pectoral and he's going to be done for the entire year. He's torn his pec, he's done for the year. And that's the immediate fear. As well as Najee Harris is hurt and was ruled out for the game, I think, in the fourth quarter. So the injuries are mounting up. I don't think I saw DeMarvin Leal, I believe, was down late in the fourth quarter or in overtime. So the injuries to key players on this defense, and TJ Watt is done. You might as well really call in the season. If TJ Watt's done, because let's lay it out here. This offense is awful. Predictably, we all knew this was going to be bad. Anyone who was optimistic about this offense being good this year really had no idea how to measure the caliber of roster Pittsburgh had on offense compared to other teams in the NFL. Because you look at what Pittsburgh has on offense, they have Pat Freiermuth, who's a pretty good player. Good, not great, but someone who I think is a very good player. I like quite a bit, but not a great player in terms of measurement compared to other tight ends in the NFL. Najee Harris was a very good player. And then you look at the rest of the offense, Deontay Johnson's a pretty good player. He's probably in that same tier as a guy like DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks, somewhere in that range, but a pretty good player. And then everyone else is either a rookie or a below-average player. You know, Chase Claypool, you could make the argument he's a great physical player, but really did not come through for the team last year. We saw the issues he had last season. Along the offense, I don't want to hear anyone standing up for anyone on the offensive line. It's not a good unit. It's just not good. Maybe there's one player on the line who actually is solid. But even James Daniels last year was not that good for the Bears. So, this is a pretty poor offense. And they were horrendous today. Now, granted, they did actually get Pittsburgh into field goal range twice in overtime. Of course, Chris Boswell is the one that just doinks off the upright, even though it looked like it was going to go through, and they kind of bends at the last minute. And then he hits the game winner as time expires to just finally put us all out of our miseries for the day. But yeah, this offense is absolutely horrendous. And the reason I say if TJ Watt is done for the season, Pittsburgh might as well phone it in is because this offense is so bad that you literally need 5 turnovers from the defense to win a game 23-20 in overtime. You need every second of the game to win this because your offense was so horrendous. The defense did everything. I mean, Joe Burrow was statistically the third best quarterback in the NFL last year, led the Bengals to the Super Bowl, almost won that game, and he threw 4 picks and had a fumble in this game that Pittsburgh got. The defense did absolutely everything right for the entirety of the game, except for late in the fourth quarter when they had all those penalties. But they did almost everything right. Everything you could have asked for. And this offense was absolutely horrendous. So if you don't have TJ Watt, who was very impactful in this game, he, of course, had the interception, he had a sack, he had a couple tackles for loss. If you don't have that guy on your roster, Pittsburgh's not going to have a winning record this year. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. You need to have everyone on that defense healthy, and you need the offense to just be just as good as it was last year. You know, last year it wasn't good either, let's be honest. It really was not with Ben at quarterback because you had so many dinky-dunk passes. You couldn't throw the ball downfield with a lot of accuracy. You couldn't run the ball because the offensive line wasn't that good. This year, it's just as bad in most areas of the field. Most areas of the roster have not improved on the offense. Maybe a little bit more depth at wide receiver. Maybe the offensive line is a little bit better. Quarterback play, I can't really speak of too much at this point because I don't even know how many games Trubisky is going to start this year. But we'll find out. But overall, I was so mad after this game. I am fuming. I'm trying not to. I don't like cursing on this channel just because I like to have everyone be able to listen to my stuff. But I am so mad right now about how this game turned out. If we lose TJ Watt for the season, like I said, this season to me is done. Because you don't have that guy on your defense. Yeah, you still have Cameron Hayward, who's really good. I mean, when he was rotating in today, when he was in the game, he was making a lot of big plays. Minkah Fitzpatrick made a couple of big plays in this game. So you do have impact players on defense. Tyson Alulu, when he's healthy, in the interior defense line, makes plays. Alex Highsmith was tremendous today. 9 tackles, 3 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. He was tremendous. Highsmith was fantastic. Everything you wanted from him and more. And Miles Jack was pretty decent today. You know, you got some good play from him. But overall, this defensive unit without TJ Watt is just not that scary compared to elite Pittsburgh defenses of the past where you had so much depth at different positions, where you would have a James Harris on one side, Lamar Woodley in the area, and a decent middle linebacker like a Lawrence Timmons, and then Troy Polamalu in the safety spot. And there are defenses in the NFL right now that have 4 or 5 star players or 4 or 5 really good above average players. And you take T.J. Watt out of Pittsburgh, you don't have that. So if T.J. Watt is done with a pec injury for the year, it's awful. I mean, that would be just the death blow for this season, in my opinion, because the defense is good. Like, defense is really good right now. I'm not a huge fan of the secondary, but they played really well today, for the most part. But if you get rid of T.J. Watt, I just don't think, because they were slanting the pass protection so heavily towards T.J. Watt today, where they would have a tight end or a running back come over and basically chip him and help out the tackle. With T.J. Watt not on the field, all of that goes to Alex Highsmith now. And Highsmith had a really good game today, but Alex Highsmith is not T.J. Watt. So if you start sending all the chips towards Alex Highsmith, then you're down to your third pass rusher who suddenly has to fill in and perform at a high level, and I just don't see that happening. That's just not how it works. And I'm kind of ticked off they didn't win this in regulation, because, frankly, if not for Cameron Sutton getting called for a holding call that I think wiped out a T.J. Watt / Cameron Hayward sack, if not for that play, the game ends in regulation. If not for Minkah Fitzpatrick getting penalized for his second unnecessary roughness call by hitting a defenseless receiver, if not for the second time he did that in the game, it would have ended in regulation. There was another player as well. T.J. Watt, T.J. Watt hands to the face on the play. He actually hurt himself. If not for that play, the game ends in regulation. So it's just so frustrating, because never had to get to the point where T.J. Watt and Najee Harris would get hurt. They both got hurt, I believe, after that drive by the Bengals that essentially forced overtime. So, I'm sorry. I'm so flustered right now. I don't have anything written down about this game because I was just watching it live. But, yeah, if not for some really boneheaded penalties late in the game, and this would have been over in regulation, and we would have avoided a T.J. Watt injury, and we might have avoided a Najee Harris injury. And if both those guys are, well, I don't know about Najee Harris yet, so I can't really say anything, but if T.J. Watt has indeed torn his pec like he thinks he has, and what the initial reports seem to report that that's where it's going, if he hasn't indeed torn his pec, he's probably done for the year, and that is probably Pittsburgh's season served you on a platter, along with the crappy offense they have and some lack of depth at certain positions on the defense. I mean, I have no reason to be optimistic about this offense. I don't. I have absolutely no reason to believe this offense at all. The running game is awful. The offensive line is going to be one of the 5 worst units in the league this year. Pat Freiermuth is good. I really like Pat Freiermuth. I think he's done well as tight end position. Deontay Johnson has a solid game, although I think he did have one drop in there. But overall, a very solid game and a pretty good catch. I believe it was him late in the game who had that amazing catch on the sideline they actually had to review. So, like I said, they have good pieces, some good pieces on offense. George Pickens is kind of a wait and see. Najee Harris is a really good player when he actually has blockers. But the offensive line is so bad. You don't get to see Najee Harris shine. You don't get the best out of Pat Freiermuth and Deontay Johnson because you don't have a quarterback who plays at an NFL caliber level. And then defensively, like I said, you lose T.J. Watt. Suddenly, all that extra pass protection goes to Alex Highsmith, and that just makes everything 10 times harder for everyone else. Cameron Hayward suddenly gets starting hit by running backs who stay in the backfield, and it makes it so much harder for everyone else on the defensive line to do their job at the level they've done the past couple of years. Or even today, Alex Highsmith does not have 3 sacks in this game if they are slanting coverage his way. So without T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith does not have 3 sacks in this game. And we are headed to a very, very unfortunate situation. Pittsburgh's now 1-0 on the season. They won this game. But it feels like we lost.